So then tier 2 starts with Puka Nacua at 8?
Yeah, it does. So Garrett Wilson, like, to me, I feel like if I leave the first round, especially in a 12-team league, if I leave the first round with any one of those 7 wide receivers, I'm feeling good, along with, obviously, McCaffrey, Bijan, or Brees, right?
So let's talk about Puka.
10. But, like, then you get into this kind of a teardrop, right? So I think it kind of goes from Nacua to Chris Olave, and we'll look at the next tier. But to me, that's the next tier, is that tier 2.
That's 8 to 12.
Yeah, 8 to 12, exactly. Where I feel good about that. We can talk about Puka Nacua.
Yeah, Puka Nacua
Jay's
is an
best
interesting
friend.
one. Yeah, your best friend, but you are higher
Not sure he's going to be
Cooper
after
Kupp this year.
Well, that's the problem, right? Like Nacua, his issue is, one, he was able to stay fully healthy last year. I don't think people have maybe fully absorbed how much his production fell off after the first 4 weeks of the season, where he was just never getting more than like 5 receptions. He was barely getting double-digit targets, and just in that offense where McVay likes to run the ball, Cooper Kupp, by all accounts, is healthy, and in camp the reports have been that Cooper Kupp has been the wide receiver and not Puka Nacua. So I just think that there are concerns about Puka from that front. Like, I think you just have to, just on average, regress the idea that he is going to be the Rams' #1 wide receiver because he's younger than Kupp, and Kupp has dealt with these issues. But if Kupp stays healthy for the full year, I think there is a very good chance that Cooper Kupp is wide receiver 1 on the Rams over Nacua.
For sure. I mean, there's a massive connection between Stafford and Kupp that has been there for years and years and years. All the jokes about the Breakfast Club, but that's true. I mean, you've got Stafford, a veteran quarterback, Kupp is a veteran wide receiver. They know where each other are all the time. And when we spoke to Puka Nacua at the Super Bowl, he gave a ton of credit to Cooper Kupp for sort of taking him under his wing and helping him with Stafford and with the offense. But so far through camp, it seems like because Nacua's been banged up and Kupp's been very healthy, like Kupp's like at the moment the #1 guy, and I don't know why all of a sudden Nacua is showing up and all of a sudden Stafford's like, oh yeah, Cooper Kupp, never mind.
Yeah.
I mean, Cooper Kupp was the #1 not only the #1 wide receiver in fantasy, but like the best wide receiver in fantasy football history.
Yes.
2 years ago.
Yeah, and had the greatest wide receiver season in the history of won Super Bowl MVP. Like, it was the greatest season at that position that we have seen. And I just think with Nacua as well, like a small thing, but like there are some other guys in this top 10 where if they got marginalized into being the second option, like you would hear about it and they would be arguing for targets like Devontae Adams isn't going to cop being like wide receiver 2 or like getting fewer targets. I think Puka Nacua is going to be fine if he slides back in his role a little bit. Doesn't seem like he's going to be like leaking to the media that he needs
I'm
more
not worried about
targets.
Puka Nacua. My point has always been like if you're investing in the Rams offense, I prefer Cooper Kupp at cost to Puka Nacua. But do we think Puka Nacua is unbelievable? Yes. Do we think he has a big year and that the Rams offense overall is really good? We do.
So, Matthew, is that why you buy into him and have him at 8 over
Yes.
Marvin Harrison Jr. and Drake London, who are the clear alpha wide receivers of their offense?
They are, but again, like in both cases, you're sitting there with both because Nacua's done it.
Right.
We haven't seen it from Harrison or London before. Like, we watched the college tape of both guys. We love the talent of both guys, but the fact of the matter is that Marvin Harrison has not done it yet, right? I mean, like we haven't seen him on the pro level. And then you think about Drake London. Drake London has not done it on the pro level. Again, we're putting a lot of faith in the idea that, quarterback upgrade with Kirk Cousins, coaching upgrade with Zach Robinson. And I buy into all that, obviously, when you see my rankings.
Yeah.
I'm in on Drake London this year. I'm in on Marvin Harrison Jr. this year. But you ask me, why are they ranked below Puka Nacua? Because there's less question marks about Puka to me.
Yep.
The only question mark is 1 versus 2 with Cooper Kupp. But the truth of the matter is even with Kupp out there, he was averaging 15.5 fantasy points per game, 27% target share. He saw almost 100 targets. He averaged over 92 yards from scrimmage per game. That was 5th most among wide receivers. Like, he didn't have crazy numbers like he did without Kupp, but with Kupp there, he was still very productive.
Yep. What scares me, though, his final 10 games of the season, he got more than 5 receptions once. He saw double-digit targets once. Now, that's a little bit unfair because if you throw in the playoff game against Detroit, he was 9 receptions on 10 targets for 181 yards and a touchdown. So, look, I think he's going to be better than that on average. But also, the other thing with Nacua, I think of young wide receivers, he might be the biggest injury risk out there because of the way that he plays, how physical he is with his blocking. Yep. Like, we thought he was done for the season after he got hurt against Cleveland, where he went down and seemed really bad. Then he comes back in and he's fine. Just a little thing. I think he dealt with some stuff in college as well.
Yeah, he was banged up.
So it's just a little bit of a concern because he does play a very physical brand.
Hey, it's Matthew Berry from NBCSports.com and RotoWorld.com, and I want to thank you so much for watching whatever it is you just watched, or if nothing else, being too lazy to click out of the autoplay after this video started, after whatever it is you actually wanted to watch finished. But now that you're here, I'd like to take a moment here to ask you respectfully now, okay? I'm asking you respectfully to subscribe to the NFL on NBC YouTube channel. You'll get the latest Roto-World fantasy news headlines, all sorts of great shows, including my own Fantasy Football Happy Hour. So go subscribe now. Again, I'm asking respectfully.